Howdy campers, cartoonists, fish fam, aqua people, welcome. Jeremy here. I'm just giving an update on what is one of my most recent projects. This is the aquarium that's been in my home the longest, like, I don't know, 9 years or something. It was a Wallstad tank, 55-gallon, hanging out here just in my living room in the middle of some stuff. Sorry for the super fast camera action. Not trying to show you everything out there. It's a mess right now. But yeah, this is what I call Tank A. It's obviously, first one we had, but it was redone a few weeks ago with deep substrate method, a mix of specialized soil capped with some this in this case this was actually concrete sand, and it just had a really nice texture and size. Let me show you a comparison to something else. This is like pool filter sand over here, a little bit larger, almost like small pebbles. This is concrete sand, really fine. So digging that. I was a bit shy on plants for a bit in this aquarium, which was originally a South American biotope. It went from like a Rio Negro angelfish breeding tank that had some glow lights and corridors and stuff to more of an Amazon tank, and then that evolved to more of an Essequibo estuary tank. Most recently, it's just kind of a smatter of stuff. It was all South American until I stuffed an Asian plant, this octopus. Anyway, what's going on with this right now is I've got all these notes on here. These are just chalk marker. This is stuff that I planned to purchase for it. I actually just got that and planted the Esri pins. This is a bunch of tissue culture stuff. AR, Alternanthera renicki, very small plants. These were cut from other tanks. Really, the only thing I reused in here were Amazon swords, like those guys in the back there. I think there's one over here, nice little hole in the leaf. And again, back down in the back there, some swords that I just reused. But otherwise, a lot of this stuff actually came from outside. In my yard, at the back of my property, there's a creek, and it's really just kind of the beginnings of a creek, but there are some plants, some kind of aquatic plants that were hanging out there. So I thought, what the heck, I'll try some of these out. So I want to show you guys some of these now that I've gone through the trouble of attempting to identify them. And this plant in the back, that's most vertical in the corner, that's Amaranthus spinosus, which is also known as spiny amaranth or spiny pigweed. And there you can see I've got a bad memory, so I paste it on the glass until it sticks. Not necessarily with you, but with me. I've got to remember that crap. So anyway, I'm looking at that and kind of enjoying it. This is one here that I cut along here, and you can see where it's bifurcated, split, and come up. And I'm just watching the growth pattern, seeing how it does. It's been submersed for 3 weeks now, so I think it's doing pretty good. I did not expect all of the plants that I collected from the wild to survive in an aquarium setting, because actually none of them were submerged. They were all growing next to water. But here's one that I'm a little less positive about the ID on, but I believe this is an Echinodorus cortifolius. That might be known as creeping sword. It's in the same family as Amazon swords, the plant with the hole in the leaves, again. But this also, it's been submerged about the same amount of time. The leaves that I pulled, or the plant that I pulled from up above water, has not really converted, died back. I see a little bit of yellowing on that leaf kind of at the 12 o'clock area, but it hasn't died back yet, and it's certainly putting out fresh foliage that looks very akin to that. And again, I'm not 100% on this ID. That's just the plant that most resembles this that I know to be living here in the central Arkansas area. Um, this one down here, gosh, I actually have skipped over identifying. I know the name of it, but it has escaped me for the moment, so I'll get back to it. I think that's a little bit of dwarf sage back there, just a regular aquarium plant. Here's a cool one. This can be collected here in Arkansas. Cabamba caroliniana, also known as fanwort or purple fanwort. It's a little bit different. It's a different species than this down here, the green fanwort or green cabamba, but can be found locally in the southeastern U.S. and I enjoy it. I think it's really cool. Also, the plant just above it, alligator weed. Check that out. Alternantheria phylloxetes. Now that's within the same genus as these guys, A.R. Reinecke, but which is also called, I think, Scarlet Temple by some people, and something like Cardinal or Cardinalis by others. I know it as A.R., the Latin name, or the abbreviated Latin name, I should say. But yeah, this alligator weed that's growing up here. Let me see if I can give you a view of the top of the plant. It's pretty cool. Now, it will put out some small flowers. It does shoot up above the water line, so if you've got a light that's hanging up a bit and no lid, that's cool. But I had to take the lids off of a couple of my tanks that have this stuff growing in it. There's another sprig of it that you can see coming up from way down there where I cut it, and how it has really shot out some roots. And I'm not sure it's a plant that's really all that well suited for most aquariums, but it's kind of cool because it was a local plant and I could stick it in my tank. The next thing over here, I'm sure you can see, Hydrocaudal ranunculoides, which is also known as water pennywort. I don't know why, but I stuck it way back here and you can barely see the stuff. There's kind of a view of it between some softscape and some of the old growth back there, but yeah, it's all growing in a place where you can't see it. That was just me being stupid. Maybe you can see it through here. I don't know. Negative. Whatever. Okay. So, yeah, I got some tissue cultures of Storangian repens and stuck those down in that area to try and get maybe some carpeted look going on this side of the tank. I don't really have anything. I was planning maybe like dwarf hairgrass or microswords over here. Microswords probably won't take in the sand, so chain swords definitely will. Here's a view of some broadleaf chain swords that are going in a tank that's established a couple of months before this one. Both of these tanks have been very recently redone, new substrate, so they were entirely replanted to go with the deep substrate method, father fish style. And now another, that hemp dogbane, that might be this plant right down here, which I thought was a Ludwigia at first, but it is Apocinum cabania, or cannabium, excuse me, which looks like the likely ID for this guy. I'll definitely want to let it grow out so I can positively ID this one. I'm not sure about that one either. Actually, that might be the one that I'm least sure about this, because there are quite a few plants in this area that look kind of like that will actually grow close to water or on the water's edge. Parrot's feather, that's one that I do know to be growing locally here, but I have not collected. It's on private property, haven't gotten permission yet. Bacopa monieri is also growing here. I want a bit of that because I would like to diversify some of the genetics of what I've got. I haven't found any local mosses that are aquatic. I do think I was probably going to get some Vallisneria to plant in the back here. That's what those notes were. And chalk marker, great thing to have around tanks. Something you can do with a planted tank. Like if I'm wanting to keep track of the growth of this cabamba, I'll just put a chalk mark there and come back in a day or two and see where it's grown. A lot of these plants were absolutely rocket ships at first when I stuck it, especially the alligator weed. Oh my gosh, that stuff will grow inches a day without fertilizer, just with some decent light. It'll just take off. But what I'm trying to do with this tank, other than grow some plants and endlers and corydoras, is I would really like it to change into more of a South American tank, which means I'm probably going to be pulling some of those test plants out of there. I didn't expect them to do that well, but hey, they're growing cool. And I needed stuff to plant in here for now because I really didn't have enough biomass of plants, especially of South American specific stuff. I have a lot of global things, cosmopolitan plants, but not a whole lot of South America stuff. Lots of North American plants, lots of Asian plants, lots of Indian plants now, but and I'd still love to grow my collections of those. But this was supposed to be a South American tank, and that was supposed to be more of a Central American tank, like maybe like North America, South America. Haha, get it? Up top, down bottom, yeah, something like that. But it didn't really go that way for the first planting, just because I was kind of short on plants, and I wasn't really planning on placing orders with anyone. Anyway, I think as this evolves, it's probably going to get some different species of fish. I'm probably going to try a little harder to propagate the corydoras and twist a little more toward pulling anything that's not going to be found in Central or South America out of this tank as it starts filling in a bit, and just moving those plants elsewhere, or trading them off, selling them off to something like that. Thanks for sticking with me. This is a little longer than most videos that I do, especially of just a one tank discussion. Anyway, this is tank A, and there are 14 tanks here at the moment, so I'll try to go through and give a little highlight on each one, what I'm doing with it, and why. Thanks for sticking with me. I hope you have a great day. Enjoy this Memorial Day week. It's a short one, but enjoy it.